Escape to Haven Hill. What's happening? I shout, sprinting across the open park towards my best friend. She's running too, and I can hear the distant howls behind us. This can't be real. It feels like the world is coming to an end. Monsters, or at least something that used to be people, are chasing us. I saw them change. Their skin turned a sickly green, and their nails grew sharp. Now they move with an unnatural, predatory speed. Some even have claws for hands, others elongated teeth like fangs. Becker! Cassie calls out, breathless. Cassie and I have been friends since we were little. She's strong, fast, track team captain and a skilled basketball player. Tall and athletic, with dark brown hair that she usually keeps in a ponytail, she's from a well-off family and always seems confident, even now. In contrast, I'm shorter, with lighter brown hair and pale skin. Sports aren't my thing. I'm the academic one. I live with my mom, and when she's home, we mostly keep to ourselves. Cass, what's going on? I reach her near the middle of the field, still panting. I don't know, but we need to get out of here. Let's head for the high school, I say, hoping we'll find somewhere safe there. She nods, and together we sprint towards the school building. Once we're close to the side entrance, Cassie glances around, her eyes narrowing. Wait, she whispers. They're over by the main gate. I follow her gaze. At least a dozen of those creatures, stumbling near the entrance, scratching at the doors. My fingers start to twitch nervously, a habit I've had since I was a kid. Cassie gently pulls my hand down. She glances at me, her eyes lighting up with an idea. My house, she says. Her family's place is big, with high fences and plenty of rooms. It's further away, but we could hide out there. I hesitate, though. Your house is miles away, Cass. We'd never make it on foot. Cassie tugs her ponytail, thinking. The car. I parked it down the street this morning. We just have to get past them. I nod. All right. Let's go. Before I can stop her, she's already dashing across the street toward her car, parked near the small grocery store on the corner. Heart pounding, I chase after her, dodging one of the creatures as it lunges at me. Somehow, I make it to the car without getting caught. Cass is already in the driver's seat, and I dive in beside her. Are you okay? She glances at me, her voice tight with worry. Yeah. I catch my breath and force a reassuring smile. But as she pulls away, I notice a whole crowd of the creatures coming down the road toward us. She steps on the gas, and we speed past them, leaving the danger behind. Once we're safely on the highway, the countryside stretches out before us, and we start to relax a bit. Cassie speaks softly, almost to herself. This is terrifying. I reach over, resting my hand on her shoulder. We'll figure this out. We'll be okay. She gives me a small smile, and I turn to watch the fields go by. Soon, we're driving through familiar hills, and finally, Cass's house comes into view, looming on the horizon. When we reach her property, we head to the side entrance, a small trapdoor we've used before to sneak in without setting off the alarms. Once we're inside, we grab flashlights from the stash we keep there and make our way into the house. It's eerily quiet. Let's head to the kitchen. We should get supplies, just in case, Cassie suggests. I agree, knowing we'll need food if we're stuck here for a while. We raid the pantry and grab instant noodles, canned goods, and water. As we eat, the stress of the day catches up to us, and I notice my leg throbbing. When I look down, I see my jeans are torn, and there's a large scrape on my calf. Cassie gasps. Becker, your leg. I wave it off, but she insists on cleaning it up. She leads me to her room to find some supplies, but when we walk in, I freeze. Her walls are covered with drawings of us, together. Some are sketches from school events, others are of us laughing or just hanging out. Cass, I say quietly, taking it all in. I had no idea she'd drawn these. She bites her lip, avoiding my gaze. I was worried you'd think it's weird. I shake my head, smiling. Not weird at all. They're amazing. She looks up, relief in her eyes. There's a moment of silence, and then I find myself reaching out, giving her a reassuring hug. She relaxes into it, and I feel a warmth settle over us, like we're safe just being together. The quiet of Cass's house feels strange. Outside, the world has turned upside down, but in here, it's almost peaceful. As the evening deepens, we sit on the floor of her room, surrounded by her sketches, our food, and the quiet buzz of a lantern. So, what do we do next? I ask, stirring the last bit of soup in my bowl. Cassie leans back against the bed and sighs. We'll stay here tonight. Tomorrow, we can go through the house and gather anything that might help us survive. Supplies, weapons, maybe even a radio to see if anyone else is out there. I nod, but a pit forms in my stomach. Do you think anyone else made it? My voice cracks a little, and I bite my lip to hold back the flood of emotions I've kept in check since this all started. Cass's gaze softens, and she reaches out, squeezing my hand. We're going to get through this, Becker. We're strong, right? I manage a smile. Right. We talk for a little longer, about silly memories and old stories, trying to lighten the mood. Finally, exhausted, we decide to sleep in her room. I curl up on a makeshift bed by the window, and Cassie settles into her bed, a comforting presence in the dark. I wake to a strange sound, somewhere between a whisper and a scrape. I hold my breath, listening, and there it is again, a faint shuffling noise from downstairs. Cass, ere I whisper, inching toward her bed and shaking her awake. She groggily sits up, rubbing her eyes. What's going on? There's something downstairs, I say, barely able to get the words out. Her expression shifts instantly from sleepiness to focus. She nods and motions for me to follow her. We grab a couple of heavy flashlights, switching them off to avoid drawing attention, and tiptoe down the hallway toward the staircase. As we reach the bottom, we hear it clearly. Something is moving around in the living room. It sounds like a faint scratching, like nails scraping against the walls. Cassie gestures for us to split up, and I reluctantly nod. I take a position behind the kitchen island, watching as she edges toward the door, peeking through the crack to see what's inside. A gasp escapes her lips, and I see her turn toward me, mouthing the words, "I get back." But it's too late. The door swings open, and there, standing in the dim light from a window, is one of the creatures. Its eyes are hollow, its skin a sickly green, and it stumbles forward, mouth open in a silent snarl. Cassie raises her flashlight like a club, ready to defend us, but I grab her arm and pull her back. This way, I whisper, pointing toward the basement door. We dash down the stairs and shut the door behind us, locking it just as the creature reaches the top. It bangs against the door, the sound echoing in the confined space of the basement. I feel my heart pounding in my chest, and I can see the same fear in Cass's eyes. Becker, what now? She asks, her voice trembling slightly. I look around, trying to gather my thoughts. The basement is filled with old furniture, tools, and boxes, but nothing that seems like it could help us escape. My gaze lands on a set of wooden beams against the wall, leftovers from an old renovation project. I grab one, handing another to Cassie. We can use these to defend ourselves, if it breaks through, I say, hoping my voice sounds steadier than I feel. The creature's banging grows louder, more insistent, as if it's desperate to reach us. Cassie glances at me, worry etched in her features. What if there are more of them out there? I swallow hard, realizing that if one of them got into the house, others could too. We'll have to find a way out tomorrow, maybe head further out into the countryside. The creature finally stops pounding, and silence settles over us. I can hear Cass's shaky breathing beside me as we both wait, tense and ready, in case it returns. But the house stays quiet. As the hours pass, exhaustion weighs on us again, and we eventually settle on the cold basement floor, too scared to go back upstairs but too tired to keep watch. Cassie wraps her arm around my shoulders, a comforting presence in the dark. Whatever happens, Becker, I'm glad we're facing this together, as she murmurs. I lean into her, feeling safer somehow with her there, and close my eyes, letting the darkness take me. The next morning, we wake to sunlight streaming through the small basement windows. We quietly make our way upstairs, and to our relief, the creature is gone. We secure the house as best as we can, locking doors, blocking windows, and collecting anything that could be used as a weapon. Cass's mom has an old camping backpack, and we load it with essentials, first aid supplies, water, some food, and flashlights. We're nearly ready when we hear the faint crackle of a radio coming from Cass's dad's office. We exchange glances, hope blooming in our eyes, and rush to the office. Cassie picks up the small emergency radio, tuning it until a clear signal comes through. Survivors are advised to head toward Haven Hill, northeast of the city. The area has been secured, and authorities are working to provide shelter and food. Repeat, all survivors are advised to head toward Haven Hill. Cassie and I stare at each other, a spark of determination in her eyes. Haven Hill, Ishi says. It's only a few hours from here. I nod, feeling the first bit of hope I've had since this nightmare began. Let's go. Armed with a backpack and a plan, we step out of the house, looking back one last time before setting off toward Haven Hill. It won't be an easy journey, and danger could be waiting around every corner, but we have each other. And somehow, that feels like enough. As we walk side by side, Cassie slips her hand into mine, and I give it a squeeze. In the midst of all this darkness, I realize she's my light. We may not know what lies ahead, but together, we'll face whatever comes.